with the next one
All right,
if we have time
then
at
we
the
can
end.
do that. Okay.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. Brian Freed is our next presenter, and I'm sorry, Julie, if I cut you off, but I'm excited about this.
That's okay. I'm excited about Brian presenting too.
You know what?
His
I can't
organization.
start. I can't start for another 2 minutes. I'm only kidding.
I have seen Brian's face a gabillion times. I've written to him back and forth on LinkedIn. Never heard his voice, so I'm ready.
Okay, Brian's organization, his company is Inventor Smart, and Brian, it is your platform. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, the real Jake Mendelson.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
There's a story behind that. We'll tell you some other time, though.
We're getting an echo. Is it?
Let me see. Is it better now?
Not really.
I'm not getting an echo. You just
Oh,
have a different, it's just a different dynamic. I'm not hearing an echo, though.
Okay, then never.
You got to get the earbuds instead. Those wires, I don't know. It's kind of, 2019,
It's okay. I'm not insulted. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to first thank you both for hosting this amazing event. I've been listening on the YouTube Live before I came on here. And Julie, thank you so much. We've become acquainted on LinkedIn. Like you said, we haven't really communicated this way, but thank you for putting this together. And Jake, thank you for all the diligence of the emails to make this happen. And you're doing something special for everybody out there. And I'm glad to be a part of it. So what I'd like to talk about, I know that there's many inventors that are listening, or maybe there's other people that are not inventors, or they don't know that they're inventors that are listening or will listen to this. So what I'd like to do is kind of walk you through, when you have an idea first, what do you do? But before we even go there, let's talk about how to come up with ideas, because everybody seems to be in the innovative mindset listening to this program. So how do you come up with an idea? Tell me. Well, it might be a little limited since we're all indoors locked up right now. I'm still in quarantine here in New York on Long Island. A little rough here, but for the most part, I'm still speaking to people. I'm still doing things. I still go into different rooms of my house. I go into the backyard. I take walks. There's things that I'm doing. And what makes us as inventors different than anybody else out there is that we stop and we capture that idea. There's other people that'll just let it go and say, you know what, that would be really cool if it was like that. But for us, now that we're in this kind of zone, being in this program and being inventors and innovators, we have to stop and say, you know what, boom, capture it. Otherwise, as soon as you leave it or disappear, or you just on something else, poof, it's gone. So the most important thing is to capture that idea. Any type of environment that you're in, you're at the I mean, some of these things are a little limited right now, but the airport, the school that you go to, the school bus, getting ready in the morning, in the bathroom, in the kitchen, all these different places. So you have to think about what you're doing, and maybe it's something that you can do better. Now, I speak to many inventors that it ends up taking, or you make 2 or 3 steps more than what it originally is. So you have to think about things that are going to simplify what you do or what you want to do, or maybe there's something out there that just doesn't exist that now you're capturing that maybe you can find or make a little bit different than, or maybe it's a spin-off of something that already exists. But the main thing is to capture it, and then what do you do next? So me, myself, I'm an inventor. I have over a dozen patents. I've licensed my own inventions, which means that I went to a manufacturer that had distribution, and now I earn royalties from my inventions. I also manufactured my product myself, and then I went to buyers and QVC, which is a home shopping channel, and I had the opportunity to sell my inventions that I produced myself on air and to different retailers and different distribution channels, even catalogs and things like that, even on Amazon. So I've had a chance to do that for myself. And over the last 15 plus years, I've been helping other inventors do the same thing for them. And one thing that I could say is that when you're coming up with an idea, you're starting a business. It's great to think about this idea and you want to do something with it, but you have to take it seriously. So many times I speak to inventors that come up with an idea and they're skipping all these steps that all these wonderful speakers before me were on, talking about prototypes and everything else, but they didn't do a simple search. And I'm not talking about going to Walmart and going down the aisle of Walmart and saying, oh my gosh, it's not there. I'm going to be a millionaire. You know, my products doesn't exist. I'm talking about doing some due diligence. So when you come up with this idea, it's really easy these days to go right online and be able to do a quick search and see what is out there already, okay? And search with your eyes open. There's so many inventors that they search with their eyes closed because they're too scared to see their idea out there. So search with your eyes open. And then what you do is jot down or copy paste into a spreadsheet or something, the different links that you find that are similar. I'm not saying it's exact, but things that are similar or maybe spin-offs or pretty close to what you have, and that's okay. When I search online, I click on images. You know how there's web search and shopping and all these different things, the way you can search, let's say on a Google search. So I click on images because I'm visual and most people are, and you're picturing this thing in your mind. So you want to be able to look quickly without clicking through every link. So I click on the images and I'll see what's out there and I'll capture it. And then I'll go to some of the stores that I envision my idea to be sold in, and I'll see what similar things are out there, and I'll try to figure out if my idea exists or not. And then I'm going to capture all that information. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a patent attorney or agent. Now, the reason I do that is because, and I'm still in the product development stage. I'm in the research and development stage, not product development. I'm in the research and development stage. And how much has it cost me so far? Zero, okay? Do your due diligence, do your research. There's so many inventors that are skipping over to steps 9 and 10 when they didn't do this, and they spent the money and time and effort along this way where they should have been doing it, the simple patent search. So you can go on to uspto.gov, which is the US Patent and Trademark Office website. You can use Google Patents, which is really easy to use, and put in generic terms of things that you can find similar to yours or that you're describing yours to see what similar things come out and you can compare to. So again, I capture, and then I give it to the patent attorney or agent, and they're gonna do a real deep patent search in the patent office, different than what I can do. I mean, anybody can learn how to do this stuff, but as many times as I've done it, I still hire a professional to do it because I think about my idea as a business and I'm investing in it. So I want it to be done properly by people who know what they're doing better than me. So I'll do that. I'll pay for a patent search. I'll pay for whether it's an attorney or an agent. An agent sometimes is a little less, or there's patent search firms that will end up doing a search for you. And then I'll continue and I'll keep going down to seeing if I get a patentability opinion, if my idea is available or not, or if it's patentable or not. If it's, and remember, it's just an opinion. So I'll take their opinion. If I hit a brick wall, I'm happy because I didn't go through all those other stages and I stopped there and I'll move on to my next idea. That's okay. But if it's expired, the patent's expired, then I can make it because it's public domain and I can put a good trademark name on it and I can continue selling it. But if I don't want to do that, then I'm done and I move on to my next idea. The next thing is, if it's patentable, then great. Again, it's an opinion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to either get a second opinion or I'm going to keep moving forward because it really didn't look similar, but sometimes I second guess and I get a second opinion. So I'll keep going. I'll end up getting that patentability opinion, and then I'll keep moving to figuring out what I should do next. So I always like to make a prototype to see if it's something that makes sense and works and if I can get the twists and turns out of it. And then I'll figure out if it's something that I want to protect. So there's several patents that are kind of simple to describe here. So you have the provisional patent application. I hear a lot of inventors say that they're patented or they're patent pending or they have a patent by just having a provisional. They say I have a provisional. That's not a patent. It's a provisional patent application. And what that does is it gives you the right for 1 year to say your idea is patent pending while you're exploring the market. And before that year is done, you have to file that non-provisional patent application. And then you're still patent pending. There's also design patents which are ornamental, and they're just a looks like type of invention that you came up with. So those are a couple quick patents. So I get some patent protection. I have a working prototype, have that patent protection, and now I have some options. What am I going to do? Am I going to license it, or am I going to manufacture it? So I explained to you for a second in the beginning what licensing is. Licensing means that, let's say you go to the store where you envision your product to be sold, you take the package, you look at it, and there's a company name. Maybe it's in the front, but the back, whatever. Write it down and keep doing it. And then go to a couple other stores and keep doing it. And all of a sudden, now you have a list of potential licensees. These are companies that are manufacturers with distribution. They're in the store with distribution. So I'll jot them down. I'll just make notes of these companies, and I'll do research when I get home. And then I'll call them up and I'll ask them if they're looking to license my intellectual property. I've done my due diligence. I did my patent search. I made a prototype. I made a good video for my prototype. It can be crude. It doesn't have to be a fancy production. I ended up making some pictures. I have some good bullet points that I can speak to. I know my product in and out really, really well. I don't need really market research and everything else. You know what I think about that is, who am I to tell this company that's in the business selling products in Walmart or wherever their business and what their market is? I respect the research, and it's good for you to know, but you have to think about it. If I'm selling a golf ball, do you think that everybody in the world needs a golf ball? Do you play golf, Julie? Do you play golf, Jake? Not everybody plays golf. So when you're in the golf course and you look around, you go, holy, everybody's playing golf. Everybody in the world is going to want my new golf ball. But when you step out of the golf course, not so many people play golf. So your window of opportunity is down a little bit. And out of all the people that play golf, how many people are going to need your golf ball? So these are things that you have to think about when you're kind of evaluating your window of opportunity. And then there's manufacturing. So I've been speaking to so many inventors. Listen, licensing is tough. You may have a great idea, but it just might not be for them, or it might not be the right time, or it's just not what their buyer is looking for. So some inventors, what they do is they turn into an entrepreneur and they start their own business. They manufacture it, so you can manufacture it over here in the US or overseas, and then you manufacture it. And these days, it's pretty easy to start to sell your product. You sell it on Amazon. There's plenty of places, Etsy, there's Amazon, there's all different types of things. Like you could sell it direct on your website and do social media right to your product. There's great things that you could do as an entrepreneur. And some of them, look, you don't have to hit a home run every time you come up with an invention. You can have a single, double, triple. Well, I miss baseball, but you can come up with those, and you can earn some income, some residual income from these products, whether it's you selling it yourself or you license it to earn royalties. So there's a lot of things like that to consider. And then after you do that, you can start at step one and keep on inventing. So that's really what the invention journey is kind of about in a nutshell here. And I wanted to take some time to see if there's any questions that I might be able to answer for the people that are listening. Yes, Jake.
Oh my
is it fair that you're the first? Like, all right.
Trust me, there are a lot of people with questions. I am just the conduit for their questions. Okay. So let me just, in no particular order, how did you start? Did you wake up one day and say, I want to be an inventor?
You know, I remember, Jake, when I was young, I used to rip things apart, but not in an aggressive and like a savaging way. But I used to be curious about how things worked. And I guess as I got older and I went to college, and then I got married, and I watched how my wife was cooking things in the kitchen that maybe she could have done a little bit better or differently. And I started to come up with all these different things. And I just made a list of all my inventions. And from a marketing perspective, I said, you know what? Cross out, cross out, cross out. This one might be good. This one might be good. This one might be good. And then I started to work on it, not for my emotions, Jake, not how I feel, but how other people would use my product. And that's what I feel made me a successful inventor to the level of success that I have right now. There's plenty more that I want to do. And there's always room for another, home run and grand slam and everything else. But you know what it is? You got to just think about what it is that other people are going to use and take the emotions out and think of your idea as a business. So yeah, I just kept going through in stages of my life and places that I'm at, I start to pay more attention. And maybe I'm getting a little cuckoo being out there and doing, coming up with all these ideas, but there's a lot of them I just cross out right away, and that's okay because you'll leave room for the next idea, Jake.
Great. You had mentioned the options of manufacturing versus licensing. How do you make that decision over which one to do?
Well, Jake, I get a chance to speak to a lot of inventors, and I as their inventor coach. And what I say to them is that it's more than just a textbook answer. You really need to understand who it is that you're speaking to. Do you have a full-time job? Do you have the funds, or can you get the funds? Is it something that you want to really do? Do you want to be manufacturing? Do you want to be an entrepreneur and deal with social media and people, the accounts payable and shipping and receiving and warehousing and all the things that it takes to make to be in your business? So I could speak to somebody who has $1 gazillion in the bank and they can manufacture their product very easily, but they choose not to. They say, I don't want to do this. I have the idea, I have the intellectual property. I want to be able to let somebody else take care of it. So I can have a gazillionaire that still wants to license their idea so they can earn royalties from it. Then there's other inventors that are on a shoestring budget that might not have the funds to do it, to go into their own business. They would like to, but instead of sitting there waiting till you save up, or you don't want to ask your friends and family, you don't want to mortgage your house or all these other things that people do. So you wait and you save up and you can become an entrepreneur, or you take your intellectual property and you try to license it. And I'm telling you right now, there's a good split between licensing and manufacturing from the inventors that I'm working with. I'm really excited to be putting a lot of inventors into business for themselves. But the question is, Jake, once you have 5,000 units in your garage, what are you going to do next? So it's better to think about those kind of questions before. And that's what I do is I really get to understand who you are and what you're about and what you want to do, Jake. I get into your brain and I figure out what's next for you and to help you to make better decisions.
Great.
Hey, Brian, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Sure,
I'm sure that some of these kids that are watching today, and even some of the mentors of the students are watching today. I mean, obviously you're a very successful man. You've made a lot out of just starting to think about as you're walking around, what can I change? What can I make better? I just want to go back to even before that, like who inspired you to start? What inspired you to start? What was the first time you remember that you were actually trying to solve a problem? How old were you? And what was the situation behind that? I know that's pushing it, but I think people always want to know, how do I get from here to there? And they're very interested in the backstories of people who are very successful. So I'm real curious about your beginning.
Thank you, Julie. You know what? Again, I'm nowhere where I want to be. I have plenty more to do. I have plenty more inventions to work on. But I could tell you, Julie, that I think, you start off and you're interested in inventing, and you don't really know that you're an inventor, but you start to pay attention to things. And when you start to capture it, that's when you know that you're an inventor, like you realize things. But I have to say, when you're asking me about inspiration, and I'm not kidding, I've started inventors groups. I went to inventors groups and I started to get into the groove there with a lot of people and network. And I had some level of success when I started to go to the inventors groups, and all these people needed help. And I started to work on my inventions more and more. And I got to work on it. I got to show them if I can do it, they can do it. I'm nothing special. All I'm doing is I have a head start, ahead of you. But that's what it is, Julie. I have to say, I've been running inventors groups for, I think this is my 14th year. I have the largest inventors group in the country on Long Island. It's called the Long Island Inventors and Entrepreneurs Club. And I have between 50 and 150 people come to every meeting. And I've had well over 15,000 people that have come to my meetings over the years, unique. So I'm telling you, it's the inspiration of people to show them what it takes to make an invention and to bring an invention to life. So that's why I'm here, because you gave me another platform to talk about some, helping other people to come up with their ideas. And I just
thinking about, you may have kindergartners,
yep,
all the way up to adults here. What advice do you have for them? I mean, you gotta thinking on their level. How would you instruct them to move forward?
Well, like I said in the beginning, is to be aware of your environment. So remember that yo-yo? I have a chance to go into, well, not right now, but I've been going to speak to schools at all different levels, from kindergarten all the way up to senior colleges. And when I talk to the younger kids, I bring a yo-yo and I bring one of those pigskin footballs, right? So I show the original yo-yo. Okay, let's do a yo-yo. All right, now we have to wind it up because I stink at doing yo-yo. But now they have a rewindable yo-yo, like automatic rewinding yo-yo. And then they have the football. So I throw a football at somebody and, oh, right? But now I take out the Nerf football. So I show you that there's things that you're using every day that you just have to think about. How can I make it better? How can I have more fun with this? Or maybe this doesn't exist this way and maybe I can come up with something better. So that on that level. And then again, as you're getting older and you're into that groove and into that zone of when you come up with something, to capture the idea and be realistic with the opportunity, that window of opportunity. Because listen, I'll show you a couple products because this will bring a good example out. So I don't have a plastic bag here, but I have this product. I've sold these for many years and they're still very active. They're in Home Goods, HomeSense, TJ Maxx, and Marshalls, and Walmart right now. So the Walmart Market. So so when I came up with this, those plastic tabs and the twist ties that are on bread, yeah, right? So those plastic tabs broke on me, or they were annoying to put back on. The twist ties, I didn't know which way they were twisting anymore. And then I started to say, that's annoying. And then I opened up my pantry and I saw like cereal bags left open and everything else. So I'm like, all these bags are left open. I know there's chip clips and all those things out there, but what I did was I came up with this product called pull ties. And you take any plastic bag, cereal bag, or freezer bag, and you put it through the loop and you push the button up and it seals it tight. I'm sorry, I don't have a plastic bag here, but it was on my desk. So if I went on QVC and I said, Julie, you got to have these. It's for your bread, your bread, your bread, your bread, your bread. But you don't eat bread, or maybe you don't really care. But if I said it's for your bread, it's when you go to the club, like a Costco or BJ's or whatever, and you end up getting those big club bags and you don't have anything to put it on. So it's for your freezer, it's for your cereal, it's for this, for that. So what I did was I opened up my window of opportunity where now more people can use my product. So I said, how many people have a kitchen, Julie? Right? So I opened it up. So, and then I have other products like this. So I came up with this snack container that I designed. And then I thought it would look cool to have face on it. So now I have Elmo and Cookie Monster and all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that sell in major stores and supermarkets and drugstores and everything else. And people have a chance to use the product for the same reason that I came up with it. It's a snack container. So you put your snacks in here and you close it up and the kid can take it around, or if you're a big kid, you can take it around and you just open it up and you eat your snacks from it. And here's another one that I came up with. So it's when I came home one night and there was no room left in my fridge, and I had this leftovers and I couldn't put it anywhere. So I opened up the carton of eggs and I saw that there was only one egg left in the carton. So it drove me crazy. I'm like, one egg for this carton? Too much space. So I took the egg out, I threw it out, and I said, how can I make it so I only need the amount of space left for the amount of eggs that I have left? So I came up with this collapsible egg tray, right? So, thank you. So you put your eggs in, and as you take your eggs out, you push it back. And it's a little easier when it's on the shelf of the fridge to push back. But So that's it. It fits small to jumbo size eggs. And what do you think what do you think the name of it is? Jake, what do you think?
Exactly. I don't know.
Oh, good.
Almost
That's
exactly
good.
right, but not quite close. It's called Extra Space.
Extra
Ah.
space. Oh, but wait a minute. Forget everything. I'm stopping the presentation. Where can I buy that? I want one.
As soon as the stores open, if they're not open, if they're opened in your area, you can get it. It's at TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods, and Home Sense right now. And then also they're going to be testing in Bed Bath possibly. We're waiting for the final. Everything got a little messed up in the interim here, but with the virus. And also I sell them on Amazon if you put in Extra Space. So I'm really excited about these. And the pull ties that I showed you before, they're also in the retail stores right now. So it's fun. It's fun. And I get to do this with other inventors too. And my pleasure and the reason why I'm doing this and talking tonight is to get as many people's inventions out there to commercialize them and make money with it. But I'll tell you one thing, Julie and Jake, I tell more inventors to move on to their next idea than to work on their idea. And I know I break a lot of hearts out there, but I'd rather that they work on something that they can make some money with, because otherwise, what are you doing it for? You want to put a patent on the wall? Well, it's probably somebody else's idea. But what I do is I help you to make better decisions to be able to decide if it's something that you should move forward with or not.
Wow.
And that's something that we haven't talked about much today is, there are inventions that should just not happen. And sometimes it's hard if you're the person that's invested the time and the effort into it and the research. It is hard to step back and really be critical. Maybe critical is not right, to really assess whether there's the right value to it. So I think that's one of the important things to seek help on, because it's always going to look perfect from your perspective. You need to have other perspectives to understand whether it's something to go forward with.
Absolutely. You have to be real to yourself. Again, you have to take the emotion out of it and look at it as a business decision. And you have to listen to people's feedback. And I'm not talking about your friends and family that want to make you feel good and pat you on the back and just tell you it's great. Listen, what do they have to lose is your friendship or your or being a relative, right? It's better to tell you it's great and they love it instead of hurting your feelings. So you got to be true and real and open your eyes and look to see what's out there and see if it makes sense. Again, yep, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay.
In addition to the program you run, the Inventors Club you run out of Long Island, you also with the United Inventors Association.
Yes.
Is that correct? And what do you do with UIA?
Well, I'm currently the executive director, and what we are is a 501c3 non-for-profit. And what we do is we promote inventor advocacy, and we basically make sure that we provide as much education as we can to the inventor community out there. And we get involved in trade shows, and we get involved with different activities and really look to make a difference. And we work with also kind of like aligned with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. We're actually a spinoff of the USPTO, U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And we basically look for things that keep our eyes open for being the watchdog for the inventor.
Brian, can I ask you a question? We're going to stop soon because we have to move on. But before I go, has the change in the U.S. patent laws from first to invent to first to file, has that been good or bad for inventors?
Well, everybody can look at it in a different way. All I know is that I focus on getting it to a point where I'm ready to file and I move forward. But, I'm still talking to a lot of people out there that tell me they sent a letter to themselves from 20 years ago and nobody can take their idea. And if they do, they have this letter. That doesn't work anymore. When you come up with that idea, make sure that it's something that's relevant and makes sense to move forward with, and then file that provisional patent application or file that design patent, which is ornamental. And if you don't have the money, there's pro bono programs, which there's people out there that patent attorneys that will help to, as long as you qualify, they'll be able to help you and do your patent work for free. But you do the best you can, Jake. You gotta just make sure that you're finding the right things and not just throwing it on the wall, but doing your research before you file something to keep moving it forward.
Great, great. Well, thank you very much, Brian. This has been very exciting. I mean, to talk to somebody who's actually doing this successfully and giving back to the community and helping everybody. That's wonderful.
Whatever I can do to help. You can find out more about some of the things I've done. You can go to brianfried.com, and I always make this kind of last statement. If you spell my name Brain and my last name is spelled Fried, but it's pronounced Fried, then I'm brain fried. So spell my name right. It's very appropriate for an inventor, I guess, to be brain fried. But brianfried.com is my website, and my company website is Inventor Smart, which is being completely revamped, and it should be up in about a week or so. And actually, Inventor Smart's not going to be revamped, but you can find a lot of good articles and information on my website also. I'm happy to help. And I thank you guys for what you're doing, and to all the people in school out there, keep doing what you're doing. Be creative, be innovative, and keep on inventing.
Great. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.